Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the August 28th, 2017 City Council Legislative Session. During the meeting, should an emergency arise, please exit the building calmly, make a right-hand turn and go down the stairs. If that exit for some reason is blocked, please make a left and then a right, and please go down the stairs. Should you need any assistance, please ask and we'd be happy to provide it to you. I would also ask you now to silence any electronic devices or anything that makes noise, because I can't hear well. At this time, I'd invite Hafiz Abdul Ahad of the Delmarva Muslim community to please come to the podium for our invocation.
How the Lord tells us about the universe and its to mankind. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. And the translation is, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, the merciful who taught the Quran, and he created man, and he taught him speech. The sun and the moon move according to a fixed reckoning. The stars and the trees bend in prostration. He raised the heavens and set up the measure so that you should not transgress the measure. Always measure with justice and do not give short measure. He has laid out the earth for his creatures. On it are fruits and palm trees with clusters of dates and grains, with their husk and fragrant plants. Which of your Lord's wonders would you deny? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please rise now and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the legislative agenda.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mr. Ireton.
I have one question. Oh, no, go ahead. Oh, well, it's on the consent agenda. There's Resolution 2767. It says it needs a 4/5 of the city council. Does that need to come out, or is it okay to be in the consent agenda? It's authorizing the mayor to expend grant funds in the amount of $1,000, but there's a whereas clause that says appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of this grant must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and the approval of 4/5 of the council. So does that need, is it okay to stay in?
As long as we get unanimous
Okay,
on the
Right, on the
Okay.
agenda.
consent agenda.
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. I'll now now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mr. Boda.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Nichols.
On the consent agenda tonight, we have the August 7th, 2017 special meeting minutes, the August 7th, 2017 work session minutes, August 14th regular meeting minutes, resolution number 2767 authorizing the mayor to expend grant funds in the amount of $1,000. Resolution number 2768, authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease agreement with Community of Joy Church for use of city property for a community garden. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the consent agenda as stated, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And the chair votes aye. Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Before we go any further, I would like to, I thought he was here. Our resident delegate
He stepped out.
stepped out.
He's out in the hall. You wanna call for him?
You got a call? See, he listens. That's good. Hi.
Hey, brother.
Just recognizing you.
How you doing, man? Look at that pink shirt.
Thank you. I knew that was coming.
See, it's not peach.
I- I'm glad I recognized him. You're unrecognized now.
He is so crazy, I swear.
Only here. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the award of bids.
Second.
Mr. Ireton, Ms. Jackson. Mike, you're up.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Evening.
On tonight's awarded bids, we have change order number 2 for contract 11615. That is West Isabella Street water main replacement and Cody Cox Branch drainage improvements. The City of Salisbury Department of Procurement received a request from the Salisbury Department of Public Works, which would now be Department of Waterworks, to process change order number 2 in the amount of $28,672.66 for contract 11615 West Isabella Street water main replacement and Cody Cox drainage improvements. This is a balancing change order that is the net result of overages and credits to several of the base bid items such as concrete demolition, milling, and test pits. There are sufficient funds available on the following project accounts noted in your packet. The Department of Procurement requests City Council's approval to process change order number 2 as noted above to Corrado Construction Company LLC in the amount of $28,672.66.
Questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the bids, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you, Mr. Lowe.
Thank you.
I'll now entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2769.
So moved.
Let's take Mr. Ireton, and I think I heard Ms. Jackson. So we'll
No,
go
it
with-
wasn't me.
It wasn't you. Mr.
No, it
Boda.
wasn't.
Mr. Boda. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Before you is resolution number 2769, a resolution of the City of Salisbury, Maryland for the purpose of accepting the submission of RFP 04-16 bid from JBG Realty for the sale of surplus real property at 432-434 East Church Street. Whereas the mayor and city council have determined that there is surplus city-owned property that should be redeveloped and that there is a strong public need for increased infill development in the city. And whereas the city of Salisbury declared 434 East Church Street surplus on May 11th, 2015. And whereas the city of Salisbury pursuant to SC 16-8 and chapter 2.36 of the city code has the right to offer a public sale surplus property and make award in the best interest of the city. And whereas the city-owned surplus or unused property should be developed not only in consideration of the highest price, but in consideration of the type of development proposed. and such development should require a commitment from the purchaser to develop such property in a manner which will raise the city's tax base and be in the interest of the citizens of the city of Salisbury. And whereas the city has determined that it is in the best interest of the citizens of the city to sell the city's surplus property known as 434 East Church Street, and whereas the city of Salisbury advertised for proposals for the purchase of and redevelopment of 434 East Church Street 3 times from September 16, 2015 to September 18, 2015. And whereas the city of Salisbury is in agreement to sell 434 East Church Street for $51,000 to JBG Realty following the execution of a disposition contract, which terms acceptable to the city on or before September 21st, 2017, as finally approved by the city solicitor. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Salisbury in regular session on the 28th of August, 2017, that the proposal submitted by JBG Realty dated January 5th, 2016 for RFP 0416 bid sale of surplus real property is selected as the winning proposal for parcel 1 of the RFP on the condition that the parties on or before September 21st, 2017 execute a disposition contract with such terms and conditions as may be approved by the city and the city solicitor. The purchase price shall be $51,000.
Questions?
No, it's, finally,
I guess that particular building being an integral part of my life for a very long time, and to say thank you to JBG from Reverend Annette Wilson across the street, and the neighbors along that side, having been in every room of that building, to see something happening to it is an amazing thing. So
Yes, it is.
thank you to
Absolutely.
JBG.
so I guess for public consumption, this is known as the bricks.
The bricks.
That's what this property is known as, so. This is good. All right.
Yes, I concur. If there are no other questions, I'll call the vote on resolution number 2769. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Where's you?
I missed it? Okay. Maybe I don't want to know. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2433 for the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda, Mr. Ireton. Good evening, Mr. Tillman, how are you?
Fine, thank you. This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury, Maryland pursuant to Chapter 17.228 of Title 17 zoning of the Salisbury Municipal Code and Section 17.04.120 definitions and Section 17.46.020 mixed-use, non-residential district to add public utility operation center. Whereas the ongoing application, administration, enforcement of Title 17 zoning of the Salisbury Municipal Code demonstrates the need for periodic review, evaluation, and amendments that will keep Title 17 current. Whereas the mayor and city council may amend Title 17 zoning of the Salisbury Municipal Code pursuant to the authority granted by Article 66B of the Maryland Annotated Code in accordance with the specific provisions of Chapter 17.228 amendments and rezoning of Title 17 zoning. And whereas the mayor and city council requested that the Salisbury Planning and Zoning Commission periodically review Title 17 in light of existing procedural practices and input from the city council and members of the public. And whereas Chop Tank Electric Cooperative, Inc. submitted an application to amend the text of the code relative to the addition of a definition for a public utility operations center and the addition of a public utility operations center in the mixed-use non-residential district. And whereas a public hearing on the proposed amendments were held by the Planning Commission in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 17.228 of Title 17 zoning of the Salisbury Municipal Code on July 20th, 2017. And whereas the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the proposed text amendments to Section 17.04.120 and 17.46.020. Now therefore be it enacted and ordained by the City of Salisbury, Maryland, that Title 17 zoning of the Salisbury Municipal Code is hereby amended as follows. Paragraph 1, amend Section 17.04.120 definitions by adding the following. Public utility operations center means facilities, structures, and any or all uses directly relating to the operation and maintenance of a public utility. Subparagraph 1, including but not limited to. Subparagraph A, operating utility system controls. B, business offices and associated accessory uses. C, indoor and outdoor repair, maintenance, and/or storage of motor vehicles and utility construction and maintenance equipment, and associated storage of fuels, lubricants, coolants, and fluids and substances not for sale to the public. Subparagraph D, indoor and outdoor assembly, repair, maintenance, testing, and storage of utility system components, equipment, tools, and supplies. And subparagraph E, staging area for contractors constructing, repairing, and/or maintaining the utility system. Subparagraph F, and may include a solar farm. Amend section 17.04.120 definitions as follows. Solar farm, a utility-scale energy generation facility principally used to convert solar energy to electricity for the primary purpose of use by the owner and/or wholesale and/or retail sales of said electricity. Number 3, amend section 17.46.020 permitted uses by adding item D, Public Utility Operations Center, and be further ordained by the City of Salisbury, Maryland, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after the date of its final passage.
Questions or comments? In that case, hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2434, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry. 2433. I skipped down. And the chair votes aye. Sorry for that. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2434 for the first reading.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Rudisil, Ms. Jackson.
Ordinance number 2434, an ordinance by the Mayor and Council of the City of Salisbury to amend the Salisbury City Code by deleting Chapter 18.32-smoking and replacing it with a new Chapter 18.32-smoking to prohibit smoking on, in, or around property owned, leased, or operated by the city, including public parks. Whereas studies have found that tobacco smoke is believed to be a major contributor to air pollution and that breathing secondary smoke, also known as environmental tobacco smoke, is believed to be a potential cause of disease in healthy non-smokers, including heart disease, respiratory disease, and lung cancer. And whereas it's at special risk are believed to be children, elderly people, individuals with cardiovascular disease, and individuals with impaired respiratory function, including asthmatics and those with obstructive airway disease, and whereas there is a probable health and safety risk posed to all employees and patrons of the City of Salisbury, owned and operated facilities by the smoking of and exposure to cigarettes, cigars, pipes, and any other conveyance method, and whereas the city has declared that smoking in violation of this newly established ordinance is a public nuisance, and whereas in creating certain exceptions to the smoking prohibitions, the City of Salisbury has balanced the need and desires of smokers and non-smokers, and whereas the City of Salisbury finds and declares that the new legislation is necessary to protect the public health and welfare by prohibiting smoking in public places, government facilities, in and around other government property, and to promote the ability of non-smokers to breathe smoke-free air, and the city recognizes that the need to breathe smoke-free air shall have priority over the desire to smoke. Now therefore be it enacted and ordained by the Council of the City of Salisbury that Chapter 8.32-smoking of the City of Salisbury Code is amended by deleting in its entirety and replacing it with a new Chapter 8.32-smoking to read as follows. And I shall not read the deletions, but they appear in the document. All right, the new section will begin Chapter 8.32, Smoking, Section 8.32.010, Definitions. In this chapter, the following words shall have the following meanings indicated. Bus shelter means those structures located at certain bus stops that provide protection from nature's elements. City means the City of Salisbury, Maryland. Designated smoking area means an area approved from time to time by resolution by the mayor and city council as an area where smoking is permitted and which is clearly delineated by signage or the presence of a clearly marked authorized cigarette/cigar butt receptacles. Electronic smoking devices, ESD, also known as electronic nicotine delivery systems, quote, ENDS, comma, end quote, electronic nicotine delivery device, quote, ENDD, comma, end quote, E-cigarette or E-vapor means battery-powered disposable or rechargeable nicotine delivery systems, including flavored liquids and various levels of nicotine that are atomized by a heating element and is absorbed into the lungs as an aerosol resembling a vapor. Quote, environmental smoke and environmental tobacco smoke means the complex mixture formed from escaping smoke of burning tobacco product to include the burning of other plant or synthetic material or smoke which is exhaled by the smoker. Government office building means the building located at 125 North Division Street, including the steps, patio, picnic area, and plaza adjacent to the building. Leased building means a building leased exclusively to the city and those portions of any building that are exclusively leased to the city. Playground means any park or recreational area designed in part to be used by children that has play or where sports equipment is installed or that has been designated or landscaped for play or sports activities, or any similar facility located on public or private school grounds or on city grounds. Recreational area means that any city-owned or operated property open to the public for recreational purposes, including but not limited to athletic fields, open space, gardens, parks, patios, skate parks, plazas, pools, trails, and zoos. Riverwalk means the area of land designated and distinguished on the numerous plats of the downtown area of Salisbury, Maryland, which designate the Riverwalk, which is comprised of the walking path, including the ramps placed thereon, recreational areas along the Riverwalk, and pedestrian bridge spanning the east branch of the Wycomico River. The walkways connecting sidewalks to the Riverwalk, boat launches and tables, pavilions, and benches placed thereon, and the recreational and entertainment areas surrounding and adjoining the boat launches, tables, pavilions, and benches, but excluding the parking lots adjoining the Riverwalk. Smoking means the burning, carrying, inhaling, or exhaling of a lighted or heated cigarette, cigar, pipe, or any other matter or substance that contains tobacco or plant-based product or synthetic matter intended for inhalation. Smoking includes the use of an electronic smoking device which creates an aerosol or vapor in any manner or form, or the use of any oral smoking device for the purpose of circumventing the prohibition of smoking in this chapter. Vaping means the process of inhaling the vaped aerosol and exhaling it. Vapors means the exhaled product from an electronic smoking device. Section 8.32.020 legislative intent. It is the intent of the mayor and council of the city of Salisbury to protect the public from involuntary exposure to environmental tobacco smoke, environmental plant-based and synthetic materials-based smoke, and vapor in certain areas open to the public. Section 8.32.030, smoking prohibited in certain areas. Subsection A, except as provided in this chapter, smoking and vaping is unlawful in, on, or within 25 feet of all public parks, public bus shelters, public owned or leased and operated buildings and vehicles, the government office building, and the Salisbury Zoo, and along the Riverwalk, including recreational areas within and located along the Riverwalk, except within 15 feet of an officially designated smoking area. Certain specific areas where smoking is not allowed, except within 15 feet of the designated smoking area, are listed below, and newly acquired, dedicated, constructed, and/or designed public parks or other city property coming into existence after the passage of the ordinance establishing this code section shall automatically be included as areas where smoking is not allowed. The current listed city parks include, but are not limited to, Salisbury City Park, inclusive of trailways and greenways, equipment, outbuildings, seating, picnic areas, areas designated for organized sports, restrooms, fountains, entertainment, and recreational venues, pavilions, etc. This area runs from the Snow Hill Road through the Memorial Plaza and to Beagland Park Drive. Paragraph 2, Salisbury Dog Park, North Park Drive. Paragraph 3, Salisbury Marina Building and Fuel Pumps, Fitzwater Street. Subparagraph 4, Salisbury Skate Park, located on South Park Drive. Paragraph 5, Salisbury Zoological Park. Paragraph 6, Ben's Red Swings, Beaver Dam Drive. 7, Camden Tot Lot Park and Playground, Newton Street and Light Street. Paragraph 8, Claremont Park, Lorecrop Drive between Pinehurst Avenue and West College Avenue. Subparagraph 9, Comfort Safety Zone Park, 116 East William Street. Subparagraph 10, Doverdale Park and Playground, Decatur Avenue and Johnson Street. Subparagraph 11, Elizabeth W. Woodcock Park and Playground, Riverside Road and Pennsylvania Avenue. Subparagraph 12, Jeanette P. Chipman, Boundless Park and Playground, Broad Street and Poplar Hill Avenue. Subparagraph 13, Johnson Lake Neighborhood Playground, New York Avenue and Chase Street. Subparagraph 14, Lake Street Park and Playground, 710 Lake Street. And subparagraph 15, Monument Park, Parkway Circle, and Parkway Avenue. Subparagraph 16, Monument Park, Priscilla Street and North Division Street. Subparagraph 17, Robbins Nest Park, Parsons and 310 Gay Street. Subparagraph 18, Riverwalk Park, inclusive of all recreational areas within, along, and associated with Riverwalk, to include pavilions, entertainment areas, park benches, and pedestrian bridge, boat launches, etc., Circle Avenue to South Salisbury Boulevard. And subparagraph 19, Waterside Park and Playground, Fitzwater Street and Parsons Road. Section 8.32.040 exceptions. The prohibitions contained in this ordinance shall not apply to the following: A, designated smoking areas; B, inside a non-city owned or operated vehicle which is legally parked at a playground or recreational, so long as it is at least 25 feet away from the playground or recreational area; or subparagraph C, on any boat or vessel legally docked at the city marina. Section 8-32-050 designation of smoking areas. The mayor and council of the city of Salisbury by resolution may designate areas in which smoking is permitted outside of the city-owned, operated, or leased buildings or on city-owned, operated, or leased property. The mayor and council of the city of Salisbury by resolution may also designate smoking areas at playgrounds, recreational areas, parks, etc., and those smoking areas shall be at least 25 feet away from any recreational equipment or sports field. The designated smoking areas may include a 15-foot radius and shall include a sign reading designated smoking area, which is at least 10 inches wide and 15 inches tall. The mayor and council of the city of Salisbury by resolution may also designate temporary smoking areas from time to time for special events within the city. The Department of Field Operations shall be responsible for signage and should ensure that all signage is installed to meet any applicable signage regulations. Section 8-32-060 penalties. Any person who violates Section 8.32.030 or 8.32.050 shall be subject to a municipal infraction resulting in a fine of up to $500 for an initial offense, up to $1,000 for each repeat offense, or shall be subject to up to 12 hours of community service for work for the initial offense, up to 48 hours of community service for work for each repeat offense, or a combination of monetary fine and community service time not to exceed the upper limit of either initial or repeat offense category, respectively. The community service work may take the form of a park cleaning project. The municipal infraction citation for the violation shall be issued by an employee of the Salisbury Police Department. Section 8.32.070 effect on fire and health regulations. Nothing in this chapter shall be deemed to repeal applicable fire or health regulations. That's it.
I have a question.
What? You-
You have?
As long as you don't ask him to repeat anything.
No, I don't think you need to run through it again, but,
18 breaths.
line 163 and line 164, where it says a designated smoking area which is at least 10 inches wide, because usually when it's the quotation mark after the number, it means an inch, and 15 inches tall. Is that supposed to be 10 feet?
It's
No, the
supposed to
sign.
be a reference to
sign.
the signage.
To the sign.
Oh, to the
Sign.
sign.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
initially made that mistake as I was reading it and
Sign,
then
okay.
corrected it.
It's a sign.
Sign, okay, all right, I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah, I sort of misled you there as I was reading, but
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, would it make sense to just add the word inches instead of the, I don't know,
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm not, this was originally drafted with those notations in
Okay.
there. I think it might be a good idea to say inches
okay.
instead of using an abbreviation in the code, so I agree with you there.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to amend line 163 and line 164 to take out the abbreviation and add the word inches following 10 and inches following 15.
All right, we have a motion to
Motion.
amend.
Can you do that one more time for me?
So on line 160, lines 163 and line 164, take out the abbreviated quotation after 10 and 15 and add the word inches after 10 and 15, so that it spells it out clearly
So we have an amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Boda made the amendment. Ms. Jackson seconded. Let's vote on the amendment first. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Now I'll entertain a motion, I'll entertain a vote on 2434 as amended. Okay? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Chair votes aye. Thank you, Mr. Tillman.
Thank you.
This evening, we have a request to speak. Felicia Barkley, you're up first. Would you please come to the podium?
Hi, my name's Felicia Barkley. I live at River Edge Apartment Complex. Now, I moved in when that building opened, and we've had continuously problems. And we asked the office to help us, and if they help, if they come to help, it might be, for my example, I called them about water that was in my apartment, and they came the next day. They came that night, and then the next day they came to dry it up and whatever. But they didn't solve the problem. So where was the water coming from? I didn't use air conditioning, and I found out it was coming from another apartment. And I waited 3 months for them to come and solve the problem. Well, while I was waiting for them, there was a heavy rain. So here comes more water. Now, over the amount of time that they did nothing, mold started to grow, and quite a bit. And now this is August, and they're finally doing something about it. Now, there's been numerous problems in those buildings. Talking to management, the young lady, unfortunately, is not the most pleasant person to deal with. And you try to explain, and they're looking at you as if you don't know what you're talking about, or you're not speaking anything worthwhile. Matter of fact, I was told to get out of the out of the office when I came to complain about a problem. And being the type of person I was, I walked away, but, and then calmed myself down, and I came back in a couple hours, and I said, first of all, how dare you talk to me like that? And, I explained to her, what is the problem? What is your problem, with speaking to people? And, of course, she was just angry again, which I don't expect for anybody in management to speak that way. There's a way to talk. And, it's not just me. She's been rude to a number of people. Now, she's good at real management, changing her opinions on things. For example, when they finally came to deal with the mold, they said I had to get out of my apartment, which I understood. They said, I'll give you another place to stay. Unfortunately, that other place was on the 3rd floor, and there was a lot of smoke. Apparently somebody was living there before that smoked. Well, I'm on disability, so walking up 3 flights of stairs is very difficult. And I tried to do that, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And of course, management with their attitude, she told me, well, don't you have other people to go and stay with? Which I thought was rude, because first of all, I'm paying to live there. I'm not paying to be at someone else's house. So I don't expect to be treated rudely. I'm not a child. I'm not even a young person anymore. But I expect management to come toward anybody who comes to the office in a certain way, speaking in a certain language. You know, don't look at me and say, well, did you do this or do that? Come to me and tell me at least what can we do to help. Well, I didn't get that. And, you know, if this is a business, and I should not have to get to the point where there's mold in my house for them to say, oh, I think it's mold there. We need to do something. Now, and there's a lot of people living in this complex who's had quite a bit of problems. And again, management will not address those problems. And if they try to talk to management, they are saying rude attitude. And, you know, they don't have a problem when they ask for my check every month, which they get on a regular basis. But, you know, if something has to be done, I don't know how or what we can do, but something has to be done with people with that attitude and showing me, you know, they need to do something, or at least look at me like, well, let me see if I can help. No, I'm getting pushed out the door or telling me, don't, you know, get out of my office.
I think
I mean,
we, I
how
think we,
dare?
I think we get your message loud and clear.
Yes,
And I think-
I'm a little angry at this point.
I can tell, and I don't blame you. I just went through a similar mold problem myself, so I know what you're going through. Ms. Glanz, is there something that we could assist this lady with? Maybe a phone call to?
Yeah, we can certainly have a phone call, talk to Susan, see what other avenues there are for us to help.
Well, Corey, we had a meeting with the residents, and Corey was there, so Corey has
Corey knows.
a lot
Okay.
of this information. A lot of these residents are here now because of the major issues that have been going on for quite some time. I know it's been going on since I've been in office, and I've tried to talk to management several times, and they've been very rude to myself, Cherie Sample Hughes and myself, and went over to meet with them, and they were very, she was very rude to us in a way, and she told some untruths, and we both picked up on it, and then we turned around and went back with a meeting with them with County Councilman Ernie Davis, Delegate Cherie Sample Hughes, and myself again Thursday. And these people, I think, have really gone through enough. So I think they should be compensated in some kind of way or told something, because this management has been deliberately mean to these residents, and not just only them. It's quite a few. I guess some of them didn't want to come, but it's quite a few of them. It's like maybe, I think 40 of them.
Well, certainly, everybody needs to be treated with respect, number one, and number two, they need livable conditions to live in, and that doesn't attack their health and safety.
Yes.
Managing.
Yes. And I called Habitat and also did Cherie Sample Hughes, and they sent it back to management, and management responded to me. And I was at liberty to tell her I did not want to speak to her.
Right.
I would prefer speaking to someone in the corporate office in reference to this, because maybe last year they were without heat
I
for
remember
quite
that.
a while. Then last week, a week before last, they were, one whole unit was without air for a week. So,
Is Habitat for America who bought the building after we provided
yes,
the
Yes.
endorsement for the tax
Mhm.
credits for it
yes,
too?
yes.
And-
Well, do you want to call now with all of us right here, because it's 443-716-2550?
I have them. Yeah, I do, I have it too.
And this is the same organization that is doing the other project on Pemberton, correct?
That's
Yeah.
No, I don't think
No.
that,
No,
it's
there's,
Penrose.
no, because we went to River's Edge to meet with them,
Yeah, we did.
and I had a meeting with them at River's Edge last year because they were talking about this other project that they want to do.
Yeah, but Habitat has taken over.
Habitat.
yeah,
Yeah, Habitat of America has taken over.
So it's a different,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a different. Have they made, do you know if Corey's made any contact or anything that, or taken any actions?
I don't know.
Can we find out and have that for next week's work session? And then Ms. Jackson or one of us will get back to you again and tell you what we've come up with. And hopefully we can help resolve the situation. Wish we could do more, but I think this is a good starting point. And I appreciate you coming in and telling us your story so that we can get to work on it.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. And there's another speaker who would like to speak, Therese Hammond? Terrace, sorry.
I have the same issues that she has, but my issues is with the parking, the trash, and just like April said a while ago with the air conditioning. I called that Saturday when the air went off to the emergency number, got the lady on there, and she said there wasn't an emergency. So I asked her, can I have...
What lady, is that the same lady you were, the
No,
manager?
the emergency number, we have an emergency number that we call when things happen on
It's
the
a
weekend.
dispatcher.
Did you get her name?
No,
Okay.
she wouldn't give me her name. Cause I asked her name, she said we're not allowed to give her the names. I was like, well, why am I calling you? You know what I mean? And then I asked her for Courtney's number, she said we wasn't allowed to do that either.
You can't.
You know, and so, just like April said, we was without air for a whole week. When they brought them portable air conditioners in, that was Thursday. You know, it was, we went through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then they wanted to knock your door down, try to get them in there, you know, to cover themselves. You know, and then the other issues is we have residents' concern forms. When you fill them out and you have a problem, she told me that when you fill out one, and she'll look it over, and if the problem is 4 days after you bring this in, it'd be something done. But if the problem is constantly going on, why should you have to keep going back and filling out another one and another one
For the same issue.
for the same issue? You know, and then the parking, you got people over there with 2 vehicles. It's taking up one main parking space and using the other vehicles to go on. I wasn't trying to be nasty or smart or anything, but I videoed the guy that has his car parked. What really made me mad was that it was raining so hard that a girl across the hallway, 9 months pregnant. When she pulled up the spot, he's looking at his window. And he goes down in his car with his umbrella, his pajamas on, and moves in her spot. And I mean, it wasn't her spot, but you know, I mean, she's 9 months pregnant. So all she has to do is get in the car and walk to her apartment. She knocked on my door, and I had to help her with her groceries. 2 days after that, she had the baby. You know, I was just saying that, you know, what if that happened if, you know, she just happened to came back at the same time and had a baby then, and she was all the way on the other end. And then you got trash, you got liquor bottles, excuse my language, but you, the security cameras don't work because you find condom wrappers. So you know what, you know, I mean, that's unsafe to go in a parking lot in your community, and anybody and everybody is using the parking space. So that means that if you go in there and somebody rob you, jump on you or whatever, and the cops come and they ask for security cameras for the next day, they can't show you because they don't work, you know?
Okay, and so that's another, maybe we can add that on. Now, just to make it clear, what you're saying is that there are people who don't live there that are parking.
People that don't live there.
Okay.
We also went to have a meeting there Thursday, and she locked us out of the meeting room.
Yes, April had to call me on the phone.
Yeah.
And
then
I was.
She would not, and I asked her, could we, without her being there, have a meeting because we had had a meeting already placed on August the 22nd, and she told us that she had to go to federal court, okay? So I said, well, can we have the meeting without you? Because these residents need to talk to someone. So she said it would be fine. I said, well, will we have a place to meet? Sure. But when we get there, the place is locked up, and some of them have keys that they can use to get in. They couldn't use the keys. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong with this picture, but we still had our meeting out on the patio, but I don't feel as though we should have had to go that route. I feel as though the building should have been open, and then there also, that's building for the art, and I have some other people who have made complaints saying that they have not been able to access that building to do arts. There are known artists, and they filled the applications and went in as an artist and never were able to use the art studio to do anything.
And I remember when they were talking about building that place, that was one of the main
Specifically for
components
the
of
art.
that
At the opening.
community room, that it was supposed to be accessible
At
to
the opening, they were
community.
showing their work
No.
when I went into
Yeah.
the opening.
No,
Well,
it's
I'm
not
talking
happening.
years ago when they were talking about it. This-
Yeah,
that
and it
was
is,
one of the
but
main
that's how you get
components
in,
of it.
because you have to exhibit
Yeah.
some kind of art.
Right.
And they're not being able to exhibit their artist's ability or their talents. They're not able to do that. That's locked. It's only open this time and that time. It's given a certain time when it's open and when it's closed. And like I said, the building was actually locked down because we had some people walk around and they could not get in. And I have talked to her myself. She would not let me have meetings with the tenants and herself. The tenants wanted me to go in meetings with them personally to talk with her, and she told me no. But when Cherie Sample Hughes and I met with her, she said she didn't say that. And I can specifically remember her telling me, oh, no, I don't have those kind of meetings. I don't even have resident meetings.
Okay, I think we got the picture on the second one. There's one more lady who likes, Sheila Whaley.
Oh, she's really been her whammy.
Ms. Jackson,
Yeah.
just to clarify, the meeting you had last week, the manager wasn't there? But
No.
Corey was, or Corey's a different meeting?
Corey was here. Corey was she canceled the meeting for August the 22nd. We staged another one for August the 24th. Corey did come to the one on the 24th.
Okay.
Hello,
Okay.
everyone. My name is Sheila Whaley. I live at the River's Edge Apartments. I've been living there since 2015. I've been having problems with Courtney since February of this year. She's been trying to evict me for all this time for no apparent reason. The problem with her is if you speak up, it's not going to work. You're not allowed to say what you need to say to her without her getting angry. She told me to get out of her office.
Take your time.
I've called April Jackson. I've talked to her. I've been talking to her since February. I didn't know if she believed me or not. I'm gonna keep it real, because this has been going on for a long time.
I believed you.
I've gotten a whole lot of not eviction, I've been dealing with legal aid. I shouldn't have to deal with legal aid if I'm not doing anything wrong. She's put me out of her office. She told me there was a problem with my refrigerator. This stuff is not really good, but I appreciate living there. I had a problem with my refrigerator, and she came to do my inspection, and I asked her, because the refrigerator, the round, whatever it's called, it was $134, and she said, that's expensive, isn't it? You know, and she laughed. She was being sarcastic. My electric's been bad since I moved there. And I believe I had the problem with her because there was a lady that died. She was bedridden. She weighed about 400 pounds, and her electric was bad. And they had an extension cord. God sent me by there to walk by. He did. And I walked past, and her nurse asked me, how did I like living out there? And I told her that I don't. And she asked me why. I said, because the electric is bad. And she said, come here. And she took me in this lady's apartment. And when I went in the apartment, they had an orange extension cord running from her oxygen tank to the socket out in the living room. So they had the red carpet walk-in. And I had been invited to the vigil. Jake invited me, and I went there, and I see Miss Hughes, Cherie, and she asked me how did I like living out there, and I told her what I just said. And when they had the red carpet, I took them over to the woman's apartment, and they got it fixed the next day. It's just a lot of stuff out there. I've been harassed since I've been there. I was told 2 weeks ago their cameras do work, because I went to legal aid and watched the video that wasn't me, saying that I had a dog. I got a violation for having a dog tied to the fence out there. I don't own a dog, never did, don't even care for him. It's just a lot of nonsense. It's just a lot of stuff with Courtney. She's nasty, she's rude, she's very disrespectful. And someone needs to come and see what's going on. I know you came, April, you'll come again. But, you know, someone needs to really see what's going on in this office. Nothing is being taken care of. When you have problems, they're not addressed. You know, it's just a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed. Someone needs to see what's going on out there.
I appreciate your comments as well, but they're pretty consistent along the line.
Yes.
And one of the things that I think we should do for the next meeting, if we can, is find out how many calls maybe we've received and relative to the management or the building itself. And then have that information with us next week for the discussion.
And they do have a
I don't think that many
director.
people have been calling
that's right.
because they're in fear of being retaliated against.
Well,
They're gonna be put out, because we have been threatened that if we keep coming back in the office,
Oh, yeah.
that, we're gonna be set outside. You know, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
I think if we could we get the mayor's office, the company does have a director of tax credit compliance. So
Yeah.
this sort of situation seems to me that puts Habitat for America in some sort of situation where they might lose
Yeah,
their designation. And then that, what I don't want to see is that to turn around and hurt the
Hurt
people who
you.
were there. And that causes that circle around and around and around. But do we want to ask Ms. Glanz and the mayor to handle this, or do you want to go over tomorrow
well,
together?
I think what we should do is let's get the facts
Okay.
and the information, and if it takes us going over there, then we'll go
Okay.
over there as well. But I think let's let the mayor handle it and the administration and, put them on notice. And then, because if there's gonna be action taken, we're gonna have to approve the action.
The other thing, if Mark could help us find out from the legislation that approved this particular development, what state, because it was state tax credits, what agency that falls under and who would be our ally and an ally for the residents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna meet with Susan tomorrow. I've got an email with
Great.
all the notes drafted to her.
all right. We,
Can someone go around there and just look at the whole place?
yeah, we,
It's just trashy, we don't have no
Yeah.
maintenance man, everybody keep quitting, it's terrible.
someone will be there, and if they don't get the proper response, then we'll be there. Okay. I'm gonna have to ask you if you wanna speak, you're gonna have to come up and identify yourself,
good.
'cause- but we're, we hear you loud and clear. Trust me, we hear you. And we'll do what we can. We'll get the information, and then we'll take the appropriate action that's necessary. So, anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.